All right, welcome to episode 2, you guys. My name is Jackie, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Adrienne and Jackie. And we are on to episode 2 today. We are super, super excited. So today we're talking collaboration over competition. Very interesting topic. In case you're wondering what we're talking about, stay tuned, and we'll let you know a little bit of what we think about that little concept behind that.
Yeah, awesome.
Hey, Adrienne.
Hey guys, it's Adrienne here. So yeah, I'm super pumped to talk about the collaboration over competition with Jackie today. And thank you so much for joining us for a second episode. And yeah, let's just dive right into it, Jackie.
Let's do it. All right, girlfriend. So, I mean, we've both worked in different types of gyms and studios, and we know a little bit about competition, especially with the fitness industry being so competitive, right? So I'm thinking, let's talk about the non-compete contracts that sometimes you find that some places have. And what are our thoughts on that? What do we think? How does that benefit anybody, let alone the actual studio or gym, right? What do you think, Adrienne?
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to quickly just throw in that, I think it's really important to note that somebody actually had made a comment to me about why I would collaborate with another coach. And it kind of ties into this non-compete, because it's like, I just don't believe that, it all needs to be a competition, which is where I feel like gyms have this non-compete, because everyone's so scared of losing members or, trainers working at multiple gyms. And it's a scarcity thing, right? They're scared of there's not enough for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. So, in my experience, I worked at a yoga studio and I worked at a boutique gym. And then I worked at a big box chain gym, and the yoga studio and the boutique gym both were very, a very strict non-compete within certain kilometers, and you had to log so many hours and you couldn't have communication with members outside of the gym, very, very strict and very micromanaging, I think is a good word.
So I mean, would you find that it happens a lot when you're in personal training versus group fitness, or what are your thoughts on that?
So I don't have much experience with the group fitness, only because the gym where I worked, I was primarily as a personal trainer, and I just happened to take on a class there because it was available, but I've never been a group fitness instructor. But I do know, as a yoga teacher, we were considered independent contractors, yet we were still, if you didn't know enough of the legalities, or you were, brand new and didn't, you didn't want to lose an opportunity, a lot of yoga studios would slip those non-competes in, even though you are an independent contractor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know all the legalities, but I think technically you can do your own thing.
Right.
As a personal trainer, I was an employee of the gym that I worked at, so it was slightly different rules, but I did find it interesting that this non-compete came in. I can totally understand, hey, if you leave, don't take the clients with you, obviously, right? You're not going to poach people's clients.
Exactly. But it's a morality thing too. I mean, why would anyone do that? I mean, if clients want to follow you, they're going to follow you no matter where you go anyway. But I mean, if they don't, I mean, there's tons of people in the world that we can work with, right? I find.
Totally.
Yeah. So I mean, from my experience, I've only done group fitness through gyms, and personal training has always been on my own independent accord. And only because I think when, from the experience of working in different places where you would see how personal trainers would struggle to even just make ends meet, but they're expected to just stay in this location and get more clients. So basically, even if they come into work at let's say 7 o'clock in the morning, and they don't really have a client until 12, sometimes you'd see them having to just hang out and do stuff around the gym, but they're not getting paid for that. So my goal, even when I started group fitness and stuff like that, and before I got my personal training certifications and stuff, I was I will never work for, I me, I'm just speaking my truth. I mean, hey, if you're working for a gym and personal training is working out for you, and I've seen trainers on the flip side where trainers are killing it through working through a gym, right? And everybody's different, right? So, I mean, it depends where you are in your life, and if you're able to afford to stick around at a location without getting paid.
It depends on the gym, right? Because so I worked at another gym that they didn't care. They had that sort of confidence. They just do your thing. If you have other jobs, if you're at you know what I mean? Because their brand was very strong. And they knew that like people were coming to them for a specific, niche in a workout, and they were looking for a specific thing. And so we were very much encouraged to do things outside the gym and work in multiple jobs. Like it was more of a collaboration. And so like I have met trainers who work in gyms who have that freedom. Yeah. And then there's gyms that don't allow that freedom.
That don't allow that. And that's where my mind-boggling, analytic side, I was like, okay, so if this gym you can't go and train other people outside here, but you're expected to stay here for a certain number of hours, and maybe you'd be lucky to get maybe 2 or 3 clients a day. And let's be honest, you're not getting the full amount of what that client is paying in that particular gym. How are you surviving? And it would just blow my mind. I'm like, how do you even pay for your cell phone bill? And let alone eat, right?
Well, and there were days, where I would show up at 8 or 9 in the morning. I'd have a client, but then let's say like my second client would cancel. But then, the idea is of course you want to be around the gym and market yourself and meet people. But you are expected to log, be there a certain amount of hours. I remember being questioned about my calendar, like, why aren't you here? But you're right. You're not paid for blocks of time. And so it's such a gray area, because it's like where you like, okay, you can understand needing to be there a certain amount of time, but also if you're not being compensated for that time, it really should be at your discretion how you use it.
Right. Especially because sorry. No, I was going to say, especially if, because personal training, at least from the certifications that we have, you're literally growing your own business, right? Yes. Correct? So if you're growing your own business, but somebody else is playing around with your money on the other side, saying, basically limiting you to how, I know, I like to poke the bear.
How much you can make, when you can make
when you can make it. And then if the economy is sucky and you're literally not getting clients, not for a lack of trying, and then they give you the restriction of, you're not allowed to work within a certain kilometer range. And let's say you can't even afford a car because you're obviously not making enough money to even buy yourself a coffee. like, how are you supposed to live? I don't get that, right?
Oh, exactly.
I'm sorry. Guys, this is keeping it 100. If you don't like what we're talking about, please just turn it off, okay?
It's so funny. I can just see you just go. I mean, but it's true though. And so and I had this exact experience side by side where I worked at 2 gyms. One gym was super chill, it was all about collaboration. It was all about, being the best version of yourself kind of deal. They were all very supportive of all the trainers kind of doing whatever they needed to do. But as long as you showed up 100% at your job, they got good feedback from clients. They were happy. And then I worked at another job at the same time where it was just very, they wanted to kind of control every aspect. And I was presented with a non-compete, and they had a certain kilometer radius, and it was so for anybody who doesn't know, or isn't around Calgary, maybe, because we're both based in Calgary, Alberta. And so downtown is quite small. It's only the downtown inner city area is only about a 5-kilometer radius, within this vicinity. I've looked it up on the map because of this reason. And so I was my house was 2 kilometers away from the gym, but the non-compete was for 5 kilometers. And I was so I can't do anything. Would literally just be at this one place. And it was for a year after too. And it's I don't know, when you live in a 5-kilometer radius, don't drive and stuff like that, it makes a huge difference.
And not only that, Calgary is so spread out. It's a small city, yet I mean somewhat of a small city, yet a very, very wide range, kilometer range. And downtown is small. So like if most of the places that you could potentially work at are within a certain radius, and let's say the next studio after that is 15 kilometers away or 10 kilometers further, taking transit, I mean, I don't know, when I first moved to Calgary, I didn't have a car. So like I did take transit. So I understand how long transit can take. Like, oh my goodness, like I worked downtown. So like I would jump on the bus. Thank God I had like a bus route right by where I was staying when I first moved to Calgary. So it will go straight downtown, but with so many different stops. So like a 20-minute drive would end up being like a 45-minute bus ride right there. That's time wasted. Time is money, in my opinion. That's just how I operate. So like, if it's taking me that long to get there, is it really worth it? But mind you, I was in the oil and gas, so it was worth my time, because yes, I didn't pay for parking. There was so many other attributes to it, because right. But if you're not really making that much money, it doesn't make sense to anyone.
Right.
I mean, now that we're both in this industry, it literally doesn't make sense for us to have to take transit just to go teach or see a client for like maybe an hour or two. And right.
Totally. Well, and like in terms of the like competition collaboration aspect, it's like, I know for myself that when I was in an environment where I felt like they trusted me, I trusted them, like it felt very mutual, where it's like they weren't trying to dictate what I was doing and where I was going. And therefore did feel more of a like I wanted to show up more for them, because I felt like they were understanding for me, versus the environment where, they were wanting to kind of take control. And then you kind of think like, well, what if I can't do this? It's just, does that make sense? Like it almost stifled this relationship of like, well, I don't want to be controlled and micromanaged. I want to feel like you have my back and I have yours, and we're both here because, there's value in this relationship. And so that's just how I felt. The one gym where it was, they were super understanding. It just felt better. And like, actually I would go as far to say it felt like a safer work environment in terms of like creativity and like knowing that you could broaden your horizons, as it were.
Right. And they trusted you enough to be able to, like, the loyalty was almost like vice versa, where
it's like a loyalty where it's like they understood that ultimately if a and I saw this all the time, because working at like the front desk and membership, right, when you're dealing with people canceling their membership for whatever reason, there would be people that would move 3 blocks away and cancel their membership because it was no longer a priority to them. And there was people that would literally move across the city and they refused to cancel their membership because that community was so valuable. And so it's like, when you look at it from that perspective, a member can follow a trainer if they're that invested in the trainer. But if they're more invested in the gym, it doesn't matter what you offer them, they're not going to leave. Right. And so like, that's how I always viewed it, is like, people will find value in whatever they find value in.
That's true. I mean, I'm definitely going to attest to, like, I've worked for amazing places where like they treated us so amazing. Like, but then again, I was on the group fitness side of things. And then it also helps that like your participants are just so like, they're so appreciative of what you're doing as well. So like, there's definitely the flip side. I mean, I did work for one place that I stopped teaching a long time ago because they tried to introduce the whole like, trying to control the group fitness side of things, of where we can teach and stuff. And I mean, unless you can justify how I'm going to survive if I'm only going to work for you, then it just doesn't make sense.
Well, so what were they trying to control in terms of the group fitness?
So I think what happened was there was a few changes going on, and they were trying to, they were basically trying to, I think they changed it almost when everybody was like freaking out about it in group fitness. And basically they were trying to just say, you need to let us know where you teach, so that they kind of know who their competitors are, and almost, make it seem like impossible for us to work for anybody else. But it's fine if you're doing this as something that you love on the side. But if you're doing it as something that, you know, it's part of what you do and needs your career, or like whatever the case may be, you're contracting, you contract for different multiple places, it just didn't make sense.
Right.
I mean, some people, I mean, if you have a full-time job somewhere and you literally just come in just to kind of like sense of community, you know, vibe with the participants or whatever the case may be, good, awesome. I probably would have just stuck around and be like, I have nothing to lose here. It doesn't matter to me. But if at that time I was looking to grow myself in the fitness industry further from me juggling two jobs, because I was still working downtown and also teaching a few classes here and there. But, you know, I didn't want to feel like I was stuck in one place because I have to sign some contract. And I don't even think those contracts really, honestly, do they really hold up in court? Audience, let us know. If you're a lawyer, we want to hear from you.
Well, you said something really interesting, Jackie, and that was like that the gym wanted to know who their competitors were. And I think that's really like what this whole episode is about, is it's like this constant idea that we're working in competition with everybody.
The insecurity behind it, right? Like, it's just being
like
insecure.
Not everything has to be a competition. Like, especially when I worked in the yoga world, like I remember thinking like, people in yoga tend to follow a teacher. People are very rarely committed to a studio. They're committed to a teacher. So if you have teachers that teach at 5 studios, what you have is 5 times the opportunity of members.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, I never really understood this competition side, because I'm like, I don't know. They're just, to me, it seems like more opportunity, not less. And
exactly.
And so like, in terms of us collaborating, or like I've collaborated with other coaches, and it's like, for me, all I see is more opportunity to connect with more people. And I don't really understand the competition side of it. I'm curious, like what your thoughts are.
I mean, the competition side of it, honestly, again, like what I mentioned earlier, it just comes down to insecurity, or thinking that if you restrict your employees or your contractors from seeking other opportunities, it means that, you know, there's less of a chance of them taking the clients from that specific place to another specific place. And then it comes down to clients. Clients will do what clients want to do. Right? Like, if they decide that, oh, I no longer want to be stuck in this studio, they're going to go somewhere else, whether you like it or not, whether the instructor is just teaching there, clients will always do what they want to do. So I think for us, the whole point of our conversation is just talking about that scarcity mindset of thinking that everybody should be holding on to everything that they have.
Right.
Calgary is not a big city. Yes, we agree, but Calgary has enough people for a business to go around, right? But and then when we look into the online world, again, we've got 6 billion plus people in the world. So why should we limit ourselves to that mindset of saying, oh my goodness, maybe I should get all those 6 billion people?
Right.
Guess what? Reality check, that's never going to happen.
We're being real. You see that a lot where people be like, oh, there's not enough clients. And it's like, but I mean, like, Calgary is 1.2 million people. And there's, like you said, I think there's on average about 1,500 certified yoga teachers in Calgary. And if you take out of the fact that like probably 500 of them aren't actively teaching, that's only 1,000 teachers to 1 million people. There is enough. Do you know what I mean? And like same with the online world. It's so easy to kind of look at people's audience and be like, oh my God, they have 70 clients. What is 70 out of billions? That's nothing.
Exactly.
You know, there's like, so much.
It's not even a drop in the ocean. It's like an app.
Well, and so then we can like really take this topic outside of coaching and outside of business, and really like, okay, you know, if you have scarcity in your business, you're probably also bringing scarcity into your lifestyle. Like, you know, are you grasping of like, there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough this, like it's a scarcity, right? Which is where I think I know I lived for years where it was like, there's not enough money, there's not enough time. And so it's always this scarcity mindset versus an abundance, which is that confidence, that knowledge that you have something of value and people will do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. And what you find is when you have that type of mindset too, like you tend to, it holds us back. Like, just a sense of insecurity. Like, I mean, we talk a lot about like, you know, self-confidence and self-awareness and self this. Let's just, like, if you have that mentality of, oh my God, somebody's going to come and take this away from me. Oh my, what type of life are we living when we do that though? Right? Like, or stealing other people's ideas. I mean, I'm okay if somebody is, I mean, if let's say you and I, we talk all about our business strategies all the time. And, you know, if there's something that I'm doing that you want to try, and you're like, girlfriend, like, you know, let's, you know, what do you think of me doing the same thing? I'll be like, yeah, go for it. Like, I appreciate somebody actually just being upfront with me than going behind my back. And then everything that I do, you just steal my idea. No. And I'm not saying people have done it. Yes, there are people that have done it, but that's fine. I don't care. But for me, it's just a sense of, let's live a life of open-mindedness. We're all in this together, especially as fitness professionals. If we collaborate, like I said last week, one mind is better than, I mean, two minds are better than one. Sometimes there's just certain things that we don't see beyond what we have around us. So if there's a way of like, oh my goodness, I really like what you do, Adrienne. I love the fact that you do vegan. You know, if I have clients that are vegan, I'll probably just say, hey, you know, I have this girl. And it's the truth because I'm not vegan. Like,
you know, it's so funny.
Right?
There's somebody in my mentorship group, actually, a coach that posted and was like, hey guys, I just acquired like a vegan client. I don't really know what I'm doing. Can anybody help? So I connected with him and I was like, hey, I would love to help you. I literally sent him, I would say about half of my resources. Most of them I've made myself from scratch. It's a lot of time.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, do with it what you will. Why? Because I'm in the business to support people. And if him having these resources means that he can change this person's life, why would I like, there's no competition there.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, there's none. It's like, I am here to support people be healthy. And if that's what, you know, if that's what it takes for him to show up the best, because I don't want him to feel like he doesn't have the resources or the support, and then he doesn't help this client. And then maybe this client feels like they don't have resources or support, and now their journey has stopped.
Right.
And it's like, I have no interest in running in that mindset. And like, kind of with the same thing where you said about copying, like we see that all the time. Like there are people who will just copy and paste captions. And it's like, okay, I mean, if you don't want to do the work, that's fine. But ultimately there's still going to be a personality behind it. So yeah, go ahead and steal my stuff, because you can't steal this personality. And Jackie and I, we talked about this before the podcast, where it's like, you and I can say the exact same thing with the exact same delivery in the exact same order. And the reality is that you're going to offer you and I'm going to offer me, and people will connect where they won't. And so
where they want. Exactly.
And so there is no competition in my mind, because I'm like, we can deliver exactly the same information in the same order with the exact same words, but we do each have something special to offer. And I mean, we can't control people. People do whatever the hell they want.
and that's just it, right? Like, I mean, for me, everything, like, you know, we talk about this all the time, is if we can motivate or inspire someone out there, even if it's just through our posts, that's all we want. And if that person wants to work with us, sure. We would love to. But I mean, that living that life of abundance, I don't know, for me, it's something that I'm trying to like really, really like reel in. And I'm like, I'm all about like, you know, if you're my friend, and if we are really friends, and there's something that, you know, I'm doing, and you're like, Jackie, please help me out. If I can help you, sure. If I can't, I probably won't be able to, just because I can't, right? And right. But like for me, it's like, let's just be open about things, and let's help each other out. If there's something that resonates with Adrienne about what she said or what she does, go for it. Contact her. If there's something that I'm saying that it's like, oh my God, I hear you, girl, contact me. Either way, we're all in the business of abundance and, you know, inspiring people. And this is why we also have these conversations, because these are conversations that people don't really necessarily talk about. Let's be honest, Canadians, we're nice.
But I think like one of the, like, and our goal with this podcast is we have topics that are going to sting a little, you know, it's things that people, I think a lot, or you have them kind of in private or quiet. Like I've had hush conversations around non-competes or experiences in gyms, but nobody really talks about it out loud because you don't want to like maybe upset somebody or say something to the wrong person. Like
exactly,
whatever you got. But this is where we're laying it all out, where it's all like out. The reality is that non-competes, to me, in my personal opinion, just read and scream scarcity, insecurity, micromanaging. And when I've worked in facilities and I've worked for people who are about collaboration, self-expression, you know, bring your best foot forward, show us what you got, like do your thing, be the best version. You tend to last longer. It's this confidence. It's like a trust and a loyalty that just
the loyalty.
Feel good.
Yeah. And just like there's something about working in an environment where it's like positive vibes, right? Like where you feel like everybody is just like such an awesome community. You are working together. You know, if I do a class and I'm like, you know what, I didn't feel good about it, I'm okay going to another instructor or even like the owner and say, you know what, there was something that just wasn't right. I need your feedback. Like, you know what I mean? That sense of, and you feel like you're supported and you're supporting other people. The clients see right through that too, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, if there's a lot of tension, if you don't know what's going on in the room, you're gonna see it because it's just gonna cut through every single little thing that you tried to hide behind the scenes. It's going to cut right through, right? Yeah.
And I definitely experienced that with like, you know, other trainers where it's like, there's, you know, this fear of asking like, hey, what was that exercise? Or can you like, I saw you were cueing your client this way. I'm really curious about this, but you can't ask because they don't want to share their info because then you'll be better than them or something. And it's like,
but
no,
why?
Like,
like going back to what you mentioned earlier, literally like Adrienne and I could be teaching the exact same class, exact same format with the same music.
Exactly.
Like we're always going to be different, right? Like there's just always a way of, there's something about human connection where some people resonate to certain people for certain, whatever reason it may be. And at the end of the day, I think let's just love each other, team, as business owners, as entrepreneurs. Let's support each other, especially as women as well. I'll say women because we know we're both women, but like even if there's guys out there that are super competitive, like even if there's anybody out there that's super competitive, let's just learn to collaborate with anyone that resonates to you. There's so many influencers on my social media that, I'm always like, I don't creep, but I'm like, oh, I love what they do. And I'll send them a DM and say, I honestly love what you do. You inspire me. And I'll literally just a nice little note just to kind of create that connection. If they reply, sure. If they don't, if they do, yay, big hugs. And I'm so excited that at least, they acknowledge that I really love what they do. But like, and if you genuinely like someone's post, let it be, whatever they can, maybe you see a nice recipe online and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you try it out and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. Send that person a note and say, thank you so much for sending me, for posting that or whatever. Like, let's just spread the love and kindness, team. Everybody gets everything. Billion people out there, right, Adrienne? As I use my hands and fly off.
It's so true. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I've definitely lived in the scarcity thing where I'm so scared to lose whatever. And it's like, it doesn't feel good. And honestly, it's impossible to grow from that headspace. And so it's like, why not just, collaborate, look for people who inspire you, definitely take inspiration, make it your own, like grow from them. I think it's just so much. There's so much to learn and so much to do. And then to collaborate with people who might have something new to offer. Like, you said that earlier, like we often just kind of get stuck in our bubble and it's like, or you could collaborate with somebody who's opposite of you and just see what you could learn.
What happens.
Even if it's just so that you know what the other side of the spectrum looks like. Like,
And sometimes we need feedback too, right? As
totally.
we do stuff like,
100%.
right? If you're finding yourself being stagnant, mind you guys, healthy competition is good. That's what drives us to achieve the goals and wanna be better. But let's be better in a more sensible and less negative way is what we're trying to say. Right?
I do think there is a huge difference between like a competition in terms of you want to compete within yourself. You always want to be, trying to strive for better and like do a little bit more, sure. And like you could see another trainer who's totally rocking it and be like, whatever they're doing, I'm going to do just 1% better than them. That's different than being like, they're doing so good and now I'm going to lose clients because there's a difference, right?
There's a difference
of like this scarcity of being like, oh my God, well, they're doing this, so I can't because they've already done it. It's like, do it better. Yeah. Do it different.
Find something different, something that will resonate with you.
Reach out to them and be like, yo, you are crushing it. And I just want to say like, good job, but just so you know, I see you and just watch out because I'm here.
Yeah. And people like that, right? Like, I mean, there's something about like just getting a little nice note and, somebody saying something positive of what you're doing and knowing that what you're doing isn't going unnoticed. I'm not saying notice everybody, but you'll notice what resonates with you, right?
Totally.
Make someone's day. Maybe that particular person that you follow all the time, maybe they have other things going on in their lives, but that job is to make sure that they give you the good information and good content and that's sharing their lives with you in a positive light. And maybe they're not, their life isn't quite positive, and just sending that little note just to say, you're doing so amazing, you inspire me, or I love what you're doing, Adrienne, I love your hair, like, or I love the fact that, like, you know what I mean, like,
you know how many of those get every single day.
Oh, I bet you do, because I love it. I wish I could pull off the red. I really do. But you know what I mean, like even little notes, right? So anyhow, just to end things, we can finish off by basically
wrap it up
let
us take, I guess we can kind of wrap it up and ask you guys, the audience at home, to maybe take a moment today to reflect inwards, see, where, like, are you living in a scarcity mindset? Do you have a fear of this? There's not enough, there's not anything, there's not enough time, there's not enough resources, there's not enough information. And where are you living in a scarcity?
Yeah.
This like lack of confidence. And then I guess ask yourself how that's working out for you. You can change
True story. And honestly, like, do the tiniest things. I was listening to a podcast. Now I can't remember what it was. I was listening to a couple after we spoke on Thursday there, Adrienne. I listened to a podcast and somebody was like, try doing something for somebody else, something that makes you selfless. Let it be giving someone a cup of coffee, like buying them a cup of coffee, or if you have $20 in your wallet, can anybody say they can do that? $20 to a stranger? Try that. Just see how it feels when you do that. And don't think about the money. Don't think about like, oh my gosh, that $20 I could have gone and right?
Yeah, it's not about somebody having more and you having less. It's simply just, it's just living,
kindness,
knowing that like there's enough for everybody. It's not a pie. It's not like somebody gets a piece and you don't get a piece.
Yeah, that's right. Adrienne, speaking of which, that I was going to ask you is, what are some of the people that inspire you in terms of like living a life of abundance? So let's talk about that quickly before we wrap things up. Sorry, guys, just a few more minutes. Let's do this.
We're going to wrap it up 12 minutes later.
I know, right?
Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, guys. So let's end it with, some positive people who have positively impacted us.
Yeah.
Obviously I have to give a shout out to my personal coaching mentor, Brian Mark, B Mark Fit. He runs a podcast and like his story is really incredible. Honestly, it's very relatable. I see a lot of like my own struggles and journey, but I also really appreciate his viewpoint, which is like there is enough, and he has his own unique voice, and he is all about collaboration and helping people, and he runs an entire coaching community, and we're all in it together. And people ask questions and people are teaming up and helping each other and running projects. And it's about community and knowing that like, we're all going to reach different people for different reasons, regardless, you know, it's better to do it as a team and to have this community support. And he also is like the definition of healthy competition, because he's the same. If he sees somebody doing something and they're more successful than him, he learns from them. It's not a competition necessarily in a bad sense. It's a like, I want to be at that level, so I'm going to see what they're doing and I'm going to implement that immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
The other person who's really changed my life, honestly, I've been listening to her podcast for years, is Kathrin Zenkina.
Yep.
She is a Ukrainian immigrant that came to America, and she, you know, went from sleeping on her grandma's couch in debt, dropping out of medical school, going against everything her parents believed in, to building a multi-million-dollar company.
I love that.
I know. And like,
that's
her
inspiring.
mindset is on point, and she's all about abundance. It's all about, you know, there's so much opportunity. The world is so large and there's so much for us to do and have. And there's people that you connect with that, you know, you just may not have if you didn't open your mind to meeting them. So
I love that.
Definitely, if you guys are looking for any sort of like abundance, you know, kick in the butt, positive mindset, you should definitely check out Brian Mark and Kathrin Zenkina. How about you, Jackie?
Okay, so for me, I'll stay a little bit more local. There's a lady called Tasha Marshall Bean, and I met Tasha about a year and a bit ago. Like, officially met her. I've always known about her. She's a spin instructor trainer, and she has literally changed the spin industry in Calgary, even Canada wide. But this is something about Tasha that I love. Tasha literally, whether she knows it or not, she's got the biggest heart you will ever experience. Like, she lives in a life of abundance. Like, she believes in uplifting people, and whether she gives you something for free, she's like, don't worry about it. There's tons of stuff out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she does things from the bottom of her heart. She will literally give you ideas of how you can get better, open up your own spot, do whatever the case may be. She's like that woman where if you need a kick-ass, like, inspirational person, if you guys don't know Tasha, check her out. Follow her on Instagram as well. Her Instagram, I think, is Tasha. Ooh, we'll put the link below. I can't remember it from the. I know, I'm so bad at handles. And then one other person that I really, really want to give a shout out to is my dear friend Manleen. Manleen owns Oxygen Braeside here in Calgary. She is the kindest person you will ever come across. If you've had a pleasure of running into this woman, she is big-hearted. She believes in giving, not expecting anything back. But she literally does everything from the bottom of her heart. So I just wanted to give the shout outs to those two women, because I think they have shaped me to where we are now, where we're talking about abundance and living that life of abundance and positive vibes and, you know, sharing information and just being better people every day. So big hearts.
Yay.
Yay.
Awesome.
All right, let's wrap things up, girl.
With those, and we'll drop everybody's information in our show notes, of course. And then, guys, so take a moment, if today, take a few moments to just see if you are living in any sort of scarcity, if there's things that you're holding on to, we're scared to let it go because it'll be gone, but it's like, it does take a lot of training. We're not sugarcoating it. It's not like you can just be like, oh, I'll give $20 and it's totally fine. Like, it does take some training, and start today. Just pay attention to anything you're having scarcity and that lack of confidence, and just know that we do live in an infinite world, and there is enough for all. Yes,
I agree. Also, like, we can't forget about gratitude, Adrienne. Just being thankful for everything that we have around us also kind of gets, a little bit more than I do about that, but like, just having that sense of gratitude of saying, oh my goodness, I am so thankful for what I have right now and what I have around me. that goes a long way in terms of that mindset of abundance of saying, okay, now that I'm thankful for what I have now, that means I can have many more out there.
And so it's so funny that you say that. We keep talking. Yeah. It's so funny. There was,
I know, we need to go.
Yeah. So Brian Mark, my mentor, made a podcast and I was listening to it where it's literally, this is the mindset piece where it's like, you can work all day and be like, oh my God, I only signed one client. I only helped one person. Or you could work all day and be like, oh my God, I helped one person. This is amazing. I reached somebody and I changed their life.
Yes.
Those are the exact same sentence with different meanings. And so my goal every day is to help one person.
Yep.
If I can help one person change their life, regardless, even I've had people message me on Instagram who are just like, that post was fire. I needed that today.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Perfect.
There's nothing that lights my heart up than somebody saying, you know, I really, really needed to hear that, or thank you so much for sharing this. Like, it honestly, like, for me, that's all I need to just fill up my heart with gratitude.
And so that is it, right? Like we can go into it being like, oh, there's only this or only that or this. That's the scarcity mindset. And or, you know, yes, that one person was impacted. Perfect. Yeah. That's the abundance mindset. And it can be as small as that. So,
yeah. I absolutely love that. Yay.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for our episode. Jackie, should we tell them about our little addition to the podcast?
We're going to be doing 2 podcasts a week, guys, just so you know. At first I was like, what? I was like, Adrienne, is this something that I don't know? We literally just discussed this last night, you guys. That's just how it's too early for this, I suppose. No, I'm kidding. We got 2 podcasts that we're going to be posting every week. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for joining us for our second podcast. And thank you so much for all the 5-star ratings that you guys have given us on that first episode. Let's keep the energy vibe going. I hope you guys like anything that we said. I hope that resonates with you. Hopefully it feels like a conversation in your car, in your home, in your whatever, your AirPods, whatever the case may be. We love it. We want to be part of your life. And hopefully, you know, we can keep this going. A good relationship. Yeah. Good job, team.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you guys like what you hear, just leave us a review. It means so much. We read through them and it just pumps us up to keep going. We're so excited to have this opportunity. And yeah, absolutely. Episode 3 will be coming soon, and then we'll be in your ear twice a week. So stay tuned.
All right, team, have a good one. And I'm pumped up. Are you pumped up? Are you ready for the week?
Hell yeah.
Adrienne?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Monday.
Yes. That's right, girlfriend. All right, you guys. See you guys on episode 3. And let us know what you think and give us those 5-star reviews. And we appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.